Cool. So to talk a little bit about the intersection of racialized police brutality and LGBTQ community. There's like a lot to unpack there, and I'm by no means at that intersection specifically, like because I'm a white woman. But some like really basic like foundational stuff is that like the history of Pride was as like a celebration of Stonewall, which literally was Black and trans women of color like rioting after police raids of their clubs. And to identify like historical movements and like those who sort of created them and like carried them on their backs, a lot of that was done by queer femmes of color. And so sort of like paying respects to that it is great, but doing it with police presence doesn't feel appropriate. There's a lot of like white LGBTQ folks who feel really strongly that there needs to be a police presence at Pride, especially when we think about like Orlando and how that impacted the LGBTQ community. But it's important to remember that that primarily affected and continues to affect like Latina LGBT community. So that intersection of like race and sexual identity.
The Pulse event or tragedy in particular? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was sort of like the argument that I was seeing the most this year for having police presence at Pride. And then the arguments against it obviously are like the fact that LGBTQ folks are at a pretty high risk to experience violence from police. We also have some issues within our own community of like domestic violence, and reports of domestic violence in queer relationships isn't taken as seriously by police. They often don't even show up to calls.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a little bit it's a lot devastating, really, because it's these folks are vowing to like protect and serve, but they're protecting property, not people. And so my personal take on Black Lives Matter protesting before the parade is that it was awesome. It was an absolute statement and like sort of reaching out and a chance for bridging some gaps between the anti-police brutality movement and LGBTQ liberation.
Yeah, I mean, again, I clearly didn't do enough reading on it, but I think it's powerful too, especially because the two movements in, I don't know, if you skim over them, look to be really different. But then to put in perspective, like BLM was founded by Black women. Many queer women lead in BLM, and there are many Black and queer women of color, like at Pride, that like align with, associate, believe in BLM. So
specifically in the Twin Cities, there are so many Black femmes that are like leading BLM that it's like inappropriate to not have them have a decent presence at Pride.
Cool. Well, yeah, I think that's beautiful. That's what Across the Culture is about, trying to get across to
perceivably different groups and like show that the line is actually quite thin, almost immaterial, and actually we have more to mesh with each other than we think. So,
plenty to engage with there. My second question you might have touched on without me knowing, but I wanted you to describe the term pinkwashing.
Yeah.
You used it in your article. The first thing I thought it was whitewashing, so I just imagined like something being commercialized, something being taken from the oppressed group or the group speaking out in favor of like, a toned down message to it for the sake of people to consume. But you could talk about it in more detail, and how you perceive that to be happening at Pride.
Yeah, well, you definitely nailed the basics of like that commercialization of a community or a like iconography from a marginalized group.
Yeah.
Specifically, think about pinkwashing. It's the co-optation of queerness and making it more palpable, specifically to straight people, but also sort of making it more ahistorical. I think something that really stands out to me in terms of pinkwashing is the marriage amendment and how there's like this really big argument that homophobia is like kind of dying out, which I don't think is true. I think it's just changing. It's becoming a little more subtle, a little more nuanced, and like kind of sneaking into our culture rather than being prominent. And so a big argument is that like because Prop 8 was like passed or denied. Anyway, we have nationally legal gay marriage. That homophobia doesn't exist anymore. So
that in itself is pinkwashing.
Yeah, it's like creating this like neoliberal ideal of like you can buy and sell queerness and it's fine because people can marry whoever they want to marry. So like, what's the big deal? And I'm thinking a lot about Target and how Target is a sponsor of specifically Twin Cities Pride. And all during Pride Month, there were T-shirts. And I like have this anecdote. One of the women that I work with was talking about how she was working her other job in the Skyway downtown. Yeah. And a bunch of the women that work at Target would come into her work all the time and grab coffee. And so many of them were coming in these shirts. And so my coworker identifies as pansexual. And so she like sort of struck up a conversation with one of these women. It's like, oh, like, wow, like that's so cool that you are wearing that shirt to work. Like, are you queer? And one was like, no, I'm just an ally. And my coworker was like, what the fuck? Yeah, and so like being able to like buy that just to be like trendy and like with it and hip. Super messed up. Like you don't get to buy your identities. You know, it's like pride is about like being proud of who you are, right? Yeah. But then once you're co-opting that and making it about money, like you're proud of the money that you're spending on queerness rather than proud of your identity.
Right. Is there, I guess to follow up on that, is there a benefit to making LGBT issues like safer for people to talk about, or are there more drawbacks in the sense that a lot of it is like censored or just not touched upon with the depth that it deserves, like to the point where it's pointed to like getting a T-shirt showing up to an event.
Like people don't feel too intimidated to like actually take that step towards talking about it.
Yeah.
So it's like the T-shirts is sort of a shield.
So that sort of like touches on performative allyship and like showing up but not showing out.
Yeah,
and like
that's like
not doing work every day.
Yeah, that's the crux of your article.
Allyship work. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when straight people are showing up to Pride and wearing, the shirts that they bought at Target, that's cool. But like, I'm queer every day. So like, what are you doing to be an ally every day?
Yeah. Okay. That's exactly what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I guess we get into the end of our video of you made some recommendations of supporting such groups like the Trevor Project and maybe moving away from bigger groups like No Hate. Like, so what's the difference?
So No Hate is actually just a photo project, which is cool. Like, art is definitely politically charged, but it's not doing anything to like directly benefit LGBTQ communities. It's more of like a space for allies and majority white LGBTQ folks to sort of showcase like that hate speech and homophobia like aren't allowed in their presence, which is dope, but it's like only productive to a certain point. So if you are trying to do some like really productive allyship stuff, like work in your own community. Like, do what you can in your own community to like help combat homophobia and transphobia, and like aid specifically like trans women when they're like asking for money and like, oh my god, like how am I going to survive? You like donate to them. Like, there's no point in donating to a large charity where it's going to be sort of like broken up and like little bits are given here and there for advocacy work, when you could be donating directly to like the folks who are trying to survive like in your community.
Which you said they'll be on GoFundMe.
Yeah, it's like those all over Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook.
And so I guess here's my wondering about that. People have their silos, people have their bubbles. Like Facebook creates these circular spaces. Yeah. And I'm wondering, like, these people over here, even if they say that they're allies, they might be closer to that bubble. Maybe they still aren't overlapping into where the GoFundMe shares. Or
like, how do you get that onto your feed? Is that kind of what you're asking?
Yeah, let's start.
You just like dive deep, like get more interested in like the queer communities and like what you can do in allyship. So reaching out to like nonprofits in your community, and you like meet people that way, and then things start to get like shared, and it's similar to like networking essentially. It's like the more people that you meet and the more immersed you become in a community, is like the more opportunities you're going to see to be able to help out folks in it.
I guess the difference here, networking is sort of a selfish thing.
Yeah.
And this is where
this
you're
is creating more of like a community web than a network, or than like networking for your personal gain.
Right, but that almost begins with, if I may add, with you understanding yourself as not like the savior in this sense. Like, you have to have that.
Absolutely.
And how do you help people? What would you say to people to say, put your ego down and move into this space? Because people might have trouble dividing that.
Well, I think it's the same thing that I take on when I enter spaces that are primarily people of color, is like the sit down, shut up, listen kind of thing. And just like take it in, you know? You don't have to be the perfect ally all the time. God knows I'm not. But you do need to pay attention and be self-critical and learn as much as you can on your own. Usually when you have questions, like, and they're good-natured questions and questions that you've like tried to find the answers to but can't, folks are willing to answer them for you. But you have to take like that onus yourself.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah. Again, thank you, Emma.
Yeah, thanks.
Congrats on winning.
Thanks.
We'll be coming at you with a contest every month, a winner every month, a lot of great pieces to come out of that.
Yeah, Emma, do you want to shout out any like places where people can reach you in terms of just like the public sphere? No personal.
Yeah. I would say that the best way to reach me is probably Twitter, at my name's not M. Otherwise, Facebook.
And on Across the Culture, she also has a profile in the article, at the bottom of the article, links to her WordPress. And I don't know if you have your Twitter there, but
I do have my Twitter
LinkedIn,
there and my
right?
LinkedIn. Yeah.
Yeah, click that.
Yeah.
Smash that like.
Yeah.
Okay, is that all for today?
Yeah, that's all we got. Straight men, you can watch girl on girl, but you gotta do more than just buy a t-shirt if you're really with the shit. Yeah, man, everything's interconnected. We hope we're displaying that with every article, every video, every guest that we have. What affects her affects me, affects him, and
Affects you.
yeah. So, thanks for watching. Across the Culture's out, Zander's out, Tri's out. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.